You know how.
Hey, listen up back there. Okay, I'd like to welcome you to the 18th annual High Lonesome Invitational. This is actually, it's set a new record in the Santa Cruz Mountains for private pasture golf tournament at 1,000-foot elevation. So
wow.
This is a new record to beat the old record of 17 that we set last year. So congratulations to those of you who were here to set that record. Quite a few of you were here at the very beginning of this tournament, the really charter members here, and people have been coming on over the years joining in, so it's turning out to be a good tournament. Now, I was listening into Maria talking on the phone, which she actually does that. I know that's kind of passé nowadays, but she was talking to somebody and saying, thank God we're at the hump year. Next year we'll start going downhill, but I'm afraid to tell her that it's actually 19 more next year. So it's not until she turns 90 that we're Anyway, I'd like to thank a few people here first. Of course, Jim Adams. Where is Jim, anyway? Right here. All right, Jim. Jim came through with some really nice trophies this year. He's been making the trophies for years and years, and he's always coming up with a great idea, and he's an important guy. All
right, everybody had a lot of contribution, including Craig's Kitchen and
yes.
Christian Saw.
Yeah, Jim came up here during a couple of weeks ago and was cutting tiles on the tile saw, and did a great job. Jim Hatfield always makes the scorecards. He's going to come up later. He's not going to make it to play golf, but he'll be up here. Maria always does a huge job here. I mean, she doesn't even get to play golf. Okay, and Jeff Kirk always brings a bucket of balls, so if you are low on your ball supply, pick some up. I usually actually hide them before anybody gets here, but I decided it was unfair. So Bob Powers doesn't seem like he's here yet, but Bob is the very important guy, the beer man.
Where is he?
He'll be coming. He'll be coming. That's for sure. The other thing about Bob, I'm going to ask him to be the marshal today. After watching the Masters and they tagged that poor Chinese kid for slow play, we're going to have that limit here. I like that, but it'll be 5 minutes. If you're standing over your ball for more than 5 minutes, so you better think about that.
If you hear that.
Okay, I want to welcome the returning champs. Christian won the Open division.
Big job.
Now, Christian,
he won the Culver flight, right?
Yeah,
Culver flight.
Good point.
Christian has won it 4 times. Matt has won it 5 times, but Nick Montori has won it 6 times. So these guys are wrestling. And Joe Culver's won it once, and so has Dave Culver. So
Great force.
anyway, yeah. So okay, I also want to give a special welcome to a few guys, Jeff and Nick. Jerry and Nick and Ted, who come from far away. Jerry and Nick live up in Washington, and Ted comes from San Diego, and then Dave Hiltz came down from Portland. So Nick and Jerry, where are you guys anyway? I was wondering if you guys would mind, one of you would move to Canada. Because it would be great, then we could be an international tournament. So, would you guys work it out? So
Ted was born and raised in Canada.
Oh, okay.
That qualifies, doesn't it?
Okay. Okay, now we had, just to explain something, when somebody misses a tournament, especially for a couple of years in a row, like Bobby Burns did, who's an ex-champion, you have to go through the reinstatement committee. And I just wanted to say, Bobby, your lawyer did a great job. Marcia Clark is a lot sharper than she was in that OJ trial. The other guy that came back was Dave Hiltz right here. His situation is a little more delicate. Dave just didn't show up last year, and he didn't really have a good excuse. I got a letter from his, I guess you'd call it a sports psychiatrist. And he was explaining that Dave had something that was called dentinal acidophobia, which is a very rare malady. Oh, there's Bob right there.
We're late.
Call the tournament off.
Okay, so dentinal acidophobia is actually he developed a fear of donkey's teeth. It's actually, and I should have known, because in the past we'd always played in the same foursome, and we'd start off on the holes that had the donkeys, and he was like shaking like a leaf, and he'd always stand behind me, and he never said anything about it, but I always figured he was nervous because of the stature of the tournament, or maybe he ingested something before we started, or whatever. But anyway, I should have known. But so he was working with that guy and trying to work that out. Is this okay that I'm saying this, Dave? Or
It's fine. It's fine because I own the donkey's teeth now. They're mine.
So he actually wrote me an email about 6 months ago and saying, would I paint the teeth black? So Jeff, is this okay? This is like, there's no. I watch Law and Order a lot. There's like, there's attorney-client and there's doctor-patient, but there's no tournament master entrant, right? That's not a privilege thing, okay? I mean, okay, I'm okay there, right? You're fine. Okay, I think so. So anyway, what's really interesting is Dave came out here a couple of days ago, I think it was on Friday, and had a practice round. And he was fine with the donkeys. I looked over, and he was actually jumping around with them, and then he started running around the field with them, and they were running around with him. He was flipping his hands up, and it was wonderful. And then I realized that we have a potential here for like a moneymaker for the tournament to have running with the donkeys instead of swimming with the dolphins, which is obviously a ripoff for everybody. This running with the donkeys would just be a great way to work out certain problems that people have. So we might be using that, Dave. You might be the leader.
Oh boy!
Running with the donkeys. He was trying to do that, like they do these flips where they jump their legs up and down. And Dave tried that. He just landed right in his face. So he learned it. It's not a good idea. Okay. Let me just check this out here. Should have known. Oh, here's the other thing. Do you mind if I mention that psychiatrist is the same guy who was working with Tanya Harding before?
No. She gave me the referral.
Yeah. And that didn't work out too well, but it seems like it worked out pretty well for Dave. Okay, some course news. Now this is a little bit demoralizing. We've actually had green fees here for 6 years. And it's always been a quarter a person. And this green fee jar.
We raised it last year to 30 cents.
Well, last year I raised it to 30 or 35.
30, I think.
Which I realized was a mistake because it just a little too much. It was asking too much. So 6 years of green fees are actually fitting into this. Now, today there were a few guys that paid. There was actually a Canadian quarter in there. Was that? No. Okay. So, anyway, the reason we use this money, of course, the idea is to hire like somebody to do the tree work and all that kind of thing. So this time, our tree guy, Leo Van Dyke, who's going through Leo inflation right now, I give him a call, and I told him I needed some trees stopped. So he said, okay, maybe a couple hours work or whatever. I said, yeah, we've got $11.20. And there was kind of a big pause. He says, well, the best I can do is actually, I could meet you at Happy Valley School and you could pay me there and then I'd have to go back home. So, because he charges transportation time. I told you guys years ago that he was going to go up in price, so that was not a good idea. So I kept the money and I ended up doing the work myself. And I don't climb, but I don't mind cutting trees down. So I cut quite a few trees down, but I had to deal with Christian all the time because Christian is he's a closet Al Gore fan, and he's constantly asking me, what would WWGD, what would Gore do? So it was hard on me because I always had to kind of sneak over there and cut some trees down. I mean, Joe's planted 4,000 trees on this property since we've lived here, so I'm not worried about it. Christian's talking about carbon footprint and all that kind of thing. So. Anyway, and the other thing is I always get accused of cutting down, and it's true. If you're with my group and if I hit a branch, I will often say that branch is gone. And it's true. I mean, I do that, but I'm going to open up a new thing like this year for you guys for next year.
Thank you.
Like we have the reverse green fee here, which is unique in any golf course in the world, where if you come up and practice, you get $1. But we're also going to have, if there's a branch or something that's bothering you, if it's reasonable, you can give me a call and come up and we'll work on eliminating that. So that's something you're not going to find. Like I told you that story a couple of years ago about General Eisenhower when he was on the board of Masters, what's that called? Yeah, so at Augusta. So there was a tree right in the middle of the fairway that he used to hit every time he played, and he petitioned to cut it down, and they turned him down. So
Wouldn't
that's,
happen here.
that's Augusta.
Not the case here.
At High Lonesome, that's not going to happen. Okay, I just have a real quick comment about the Junipero Serra archives. Now, you know, some of you, those of you who've been here a lot, realize that Junior Serra, as we call him, was an important part of the history here. He was one of the early club champions back in the 1780s. And I've learned a lot from reading his archives, especially the thing about the grass islands that we've got out there, the yerba, what the hell was that called? Yerba, Islas de la Yerbas or something, yeah. And they're a big part of the course now. So, like, apparently what happened, and I wouldn't quote me on this, but from what I've heard in the grapevine, he was a chocoholic. And the guy had to have chocolate all the time, and what I'm thinking, and it's possible that he was taking money out of the till or something like that to buy chocolate. So anyway, his archives are shut off completely. The church has totally closed those down, so I'm not going to be able to get any more information on him for a while. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll just go over the rules now. One club, no tee. Oh yeah, you can't use a tee. You have to use one club. You all know that. You don't have to use the mat if you're teeing off. If you'd rather use...
Is that Matt Culver?
Huh?
Matt Culver?
Matt Culver, yeah. You can use the grass, or if you wish, you can carry a donkey turd around with you and use that on every hole. Some people like doing that. Okay, on 16 and 17, you can bump the ball on what we call the fairway. It's just where it lands is kind of the fairway. So it's so bad up there that you can actually adjust your lie. And the other rule I've made is if you happen to be a big hitter, because it's pretty hard on that hole, you hit over onto the landing site, and I left the grass long over by the road. If the ball goes in there, you can take a free drop, a club back.
Where's that?
16, the top of 16. So the guides remember that. If somebody drives it, it goes over the fairway into that thick grass, you can pull it back a club length away from the grass.
You have to find the ball.
After you find the ball, yes, there's no penalty. Because otherwise, it's just not fair. If you might hit a great drive, and the ball's going to just keep going.
But you have to be on the right side of the road, right?
You got to be on the right side of the road, right? And also on 17, that doesn't count. If you hit your drive into that stuff on 17, that was just a bad shot.
When did fair come into the parlance of this golf course?
Fair.
Fair. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now I had made a rule this year that if you're over 70, you can use a caddy. And I had a guy lined up to be my caddy, but he didn't show up, so I'm going to have to lug my bag myself. But anyway, if you get to that point, finally, just keep that in mind, that could be something to help you out in the future. You never know. I wanted to mention one thing about the hole down here, which is the fourth hole. It used to be called Tunnel Vision. That's where I did most of the work, and I moved the tee back 10 yards. So you're going to have to, the sign there actually has the old yardage. So you're going to have to get your caddy to pace it off maybe, or you'll have to pace it off to see what it is. It's roughly 10 yards difference. It's a much better hole now. Okay, you remember there's never more than a one-stroke penalty, no matter what, lost ball, whatever. You can't have more than a one-stroke penalty. And you can only get 7 on any hole. That's the maximum score. Most of you who play this realize that.
Amen.
Be aware of other golfers, please. We've never had anybody get hit on the head, and it's fortunate. And also, I would say to watch for rattlers today. There have been 3 dead ones found on Upper Jarvis Road here in the last 2 weeks. So just be aware. I mean,
He's up on the tree.
Saying that. Hey, is that you, Henry? Hi, Henry. Drink a lot of water today because it's, you know, it's going to be pretty hot out there. And Bob will provide water and, of course, beer. And so have a great time.
Hey, wait, I have a question. I was sitting on a rules committee, and there was some discussion about the jumbo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Move coming
Thanks for bringing
back,
that
and
up.
we had passed that, right?
Very good. Yeah, the on this today we're allowing both. Well, of course the TC chin is always allowed, which is like an accidental double hit when you're chipping it, which happens on this course a lot. Named after the great Chinese golfer Chin. The Ozaki, we really don't allow that very often, but this year, because the conditions are kind of tough, we're allowing that. Christian, you're a good practitioner of that. Could you explain how that works?
Yeah, you are allowed to use your foot to delicately adjust the terrain behind your ball without changing the lie of your ball.
Yeah.
On every hole? On every shot?
Can you be a little more clear on delicately?
Without altering your lie.
No hands being moved.
Because Jumbo Ozaki,
Whatever you can do with your foot, I'm more clean right?
so Jumbo was probably the greatest Japanese golfer of all time, and he used to get away with doing that. He'd do it on the golf course, and nobody ever said anything about it because he was such an iconic figure that they would just let it go. But anyway, we've adapted. So we have the Jumbo rule here, so you can use that this year. Any other questions? Now remember, the guides have an important job. They have to keep score. When you're coming in from the hole-in-one, you take the hole-in-one sign-up list that's there at that particular hole when you finish. Okay, bring that in. So the guides do that. They keep score and they explain the rules. They watch out for danger. Okay, because there are potential for balls flying all over the place. So just be aware of other golfers. And
17 green, you can't adjust your lie around the hole. You're just talking about on the 16th
right.
shot. Okay.
Yeah, 16. You can do it on the fairway, but not when you're within 10 yards of the hole. Or something like that. Okay. All right, you guys have a great time. Over and of course.